Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock, correct? Okay. I call the Roselle Park Board of Education meeting of October 18th, 2022 to order. This meeting is held in Roselle Park High School auditorium. It is an open session of the Roselle Park Board of Education held under the Open Public Meetings Act of the state of New Jersey. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, local sources, the Home News Tribune, Borough Clerk, and school offices, and the district website. Roll call, please.
President Harms,
Here.
Vice President Carlson,
Here.
Paul Vimonte,
Mr. Beamonte is in class. He called me and said he wouldn't be here tonight.
Mark Fernandez,
Here.
Z Infante,
Here.
Dr. Kirkland,
Here.
Jennifer McCarr,
She also called me. She's on the road, caught in traffic. She will be here a little later.
Constance Quintella, Michael Ann Regan,
Please rise for flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now let it be resolved that the Roselle Park Board of Education meeting hereby convenes to executive session for a decision of the following subjects: personnel and attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated that the executive session will take approximately 60 minutes. The board may take action during public session. The board shall return to the public session following the executive session at approximately 7 p.m. The minutes of the executive session shall be released to the public when the reason for the executive session no longer exists. Do I have a motion going to executive?
I make the motion. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to have a motion to go back into open.
Make that motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
We are back in open session. At this time, I will open up the public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward. State your name and address. You have 3 minutes and you can speak on any agenda items only. Seeing no one wishing to speak on agenda items, I will close the agenda items public portion. At this time, Mr. Garrido. You can go into the principals, please.
Thank you, Mr. Harms. At this time, we're going to go into the principal's report. So I would like, it's my honor to call up Dr. Sloan Scully for her principal report on Aldine.
Thank you, Mr. Garrido. Good evening, Mr. Harms, members of the board, families, and students. We had another great start to the school year at Aldine. Our summer reading program was a success again, with over 70 students participating, which is more than 40% of our student body. We held a summer reading celebration where we recognized every participant with free books, t-shirts, and certificates. And we're working on ways to increase our participation for next year. We kicked off the Week of Respect at Aldine with a whole school assembly where we taught and modeled ways to be respectful in all areas of Aldine. And we continue to focus on respectful behavior throughout the school year. Our PTO this year, who we thank, generously gifted us with another Gaga pit, this one for younger students. And we're very appreciative. The younger students are really enjoying playing Gaga, which is a great way for students to get a lot of physical exercise while they're having fun. We celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month with daily announcements about important contributions made to our country by Hispanic Americans, including Roberto Clemente and Sonia Sotomayor. We culminated the month with student presentations. Students made presentations to their classmates regarding their own cultural heritage and brought in artifacts, clothing, or anything to represent them. We've already started with class trips at Aldine. Our preschool students walked to the library in Roselle Park where they had a great time. And they're set up to have the Trailside Nature Center do an in-house school trip next week. Our first grade students have planned walking trips to the public library where they'll listen to a read aloud and everyone will get library cards. And our fifth grade students are taking a trip to the high school makerspace next week, where they will participate in activities planned by high school students and get a tour of the STEAM wing at the high school. This year, Aldine was very fortunate to be the beneficiary of several grants that provided really fabulous improvements to our educational program. Teachers in grades kindergarten through second grade have been working with literary coaches from Rutgers University. So far, the coaches have come in, observed the teachers, and now they're coming in and doing lessons to model for the teachers in ways to improve their language arts instruction. And the feedback from all the teachers is overwhelmingly positive. It's really a great experience for our teachers. In addition, we had the benefit of a BCBA, a behaviorist, spend the entire month of September at Aldine, working with training our ABA teachers and our paraprofessionals in instructional strategies and ways to work with students on behavior. That's been a phenomenal opportunity for everyone in our ABA program. And in addition, we've had many staff members at Aldine and across the elementary schools participating in responsive classroom training. Myself included, I am thrilled to have this training, as our teachers are. Responsive classroom prepares educators to create optimal learning environments where students can develop academic, social, and emotional skills needed for success both in and out of school. Several of our teachers are enrolled and already have begun modeling these techniques for other teachers and using them in the classroom. So we're very excited to become certified in responsive classroom. We're now accepting applications at Aldine for our Student Character Council. Fifth grade students will write an essay on how they can contribute to the community at Aldine and how they demonstrate character traits of heart, and we'll have elections in November. We are expanding student-led conferences this year across the elementary schools to include fourth grade students. And student-led conferences are where students participate in the parent-teacher conference with their parents and with their teachers. So last year we had the fifth graders participate in student-led conferences, and now we're expanding it to fourth grade, and the fourth graders will be writing about areas that they have strengths in, and then including areas where they want to improve and presenting this to their families during their conferences. It's a great way to help students develop intrinsic motivation and become more responsible for their own learning. And we have a wonderful safety patrol at Aldine School. The current safety patrol, whom you're going to meet in a minute, started in the spring when they were fourth graders, and they shadowed the fifth grade safety patrol. So they had role models to show them what we expected from safety patrol. And now they're up and running, and they're doing a fabulous job helping the younger students in their classrooms during arrival and dismissal. So I really am proud to acknowledge the Aldine Safety Patrol members for this year. When I call your name, come on up to the front. Aubrey Dercole. Oh, okay. I had it in alphabetical order, but that's okay. Celeste Tobar. Isaiah Ubin Oliveria. Stephen Luna. Juan Fernandez Castillo. Dwayne Harry. Christian Monroe. Aubrey Jercole, who's up there. Valentina Vargas. Zaina Hashmi. And Christian Skamengas. Don't cover your faces. Good job, Aubrey.
At this time, I will give our students a chance to go home, do their homework. And whatever else you do at home right now, not doing homework, okay? So we'll give you a few minutes to walk out. Thank you for coming and congratulations to all the students. Great job. Oh, a little late, board. Okay, at this time, we'll move into the committee reports. Any committee reports?
Yes, President Harms,
Yes.
as a liaison to the Rosa Park High School PTSA, I was able to go to the meeting last night. And I want to send a huge thank you to the PTSA president, Jen Jaskula, and the entire leadership of the PTSA. It was really wonderful to see their passion and excitement for this year. There are several fundraisers coming up, so please keep an eye out. You can check out their Facebook, the RPHS PTSA Facebook, that has updates, and their next meeting will be November 21st here at the high school in the media center. It was the library when I was here, so now it's the media center. And if you're looking to become a member, please check out again the Facebook. It's only $8, so, and you do a lot of good by joining. So thank you, President Harms.
Thank you. Any other committee reports?
Yes, President Harms, I have a
Mhm.
committee report as well. So on September 23rd, I attended my first Board of Directors meeting for the New Jersey School Board Association. And so during that meeting, we discussed a few topics. First was Workshop 2022. So this is the first time that workshop has been in person in the past 2 years. And so the session topics will cover school security, special education, school law, crisis communication, school mental health, and things of that nature. There'll also be a legislative update, and the Acting Commissioner of Education will also be there. So I am really excited to attend, and I'll have a report on that in our November meeting as well. They also talked about the strategic plan progress, which is being led by our new executive director, Dr. Purnell. And so it demonstrates the overall initiatives and responses to changing events that are currently happening, such as school security and tools on how to educate the public as well. And so the next New Jersey School Board meeting will be November 4th, and it is actually open to the public in a hybrid manner too. And then also I would like to invite my fellow board members to come to our Union County meeting, which is on November 16th. And then I also do have an update for the superintendent search. So as you probably, most of you received an email last week for a reminder to do the input survey. And so to date, we have 42 responses from staff and we have 63 responses from the community. So it does close tonight. So if you didn't get a chance to give any input, please do so before you go to sleep this evening. And that is all that I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other report? Hearing none, we'll move right into the superintendent's report. Mr. Garrido.
Thank you, Mr. Harms. Good evening, everyone. This evening, under the superintendent's report, we have two presentations. They're both required. One by the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights, and our anti-bullying coordinator, Ms. Ellen Backer, is here to report on two areas. She will be reporting on the school self-assessment grade as determined by the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. And also she will give a summary report of harassment, intimidation, bullying, or HIP, investigations, training, and programs for January 2022 through June 2022. Ms. Backer?
Thank you, Mr. Garrido. Good evening, Board of Education members. So the first thing I'm going to report on is one of my responsibilities as the anti-bullying coordinator is to present the school self-assessment for determining grades under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights as required by the New Jersey Department of Education. This report is based on last school year, 2021-22. It is a rubric that is completed by the anti-bullying specialist in each building in conjunction with their school safety team and approved by their building principal. I am required by law to review the scores with the Board of Education for their approval. Then I will submit them officially to the NJDOA website. They take a very long time, almost a full year, to review the scores, and then they will release them in the spring. So I will once again be before you at that time telling you that they were approved by the Board of Ed. So you should have in your packet the scores. And so let me just explain that the rubric consists of 8 core elements, and there are 26 specific indicators altogether. And you rate yourself on a scale of 0 does not meet the requirements to 3 exceeds the requirements. This rubric is very detailed, very specific. So it gives very pointed things that you have to meet in order to give yourself an exceeds. Now, please note that they do not designate a passing or failing score. This is just a rubric that each building is to use for self-reflection and to determine where they're going to focus their energies on for the next school year. So all of our buildings do well. Our scores are consistent. And I think that we score ourselves realistically, because to give ourselves a perfect score, I think I would question the anti-bullying specialist on some of the aspects, because there's always room for improvement. There's always ways to tweak our programs, look for new programs, new and exciting programs to address our school climate and our culture, trainings and programs for our staff and our students. So we are always striving to do better with that. So those are our scores. They are right there. If anybody has any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer those for you. Okay, so the second reporting requirement is the school safety data system. So twice a year, we are required to submit data to the state based on our I'm going to say the initial is HIB, and that stands for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So when I refer to that, that's what I mean. So twice a year, I have to report this information that's provided to me from the individual schools. And this report is for the data from January 1st to June 30th, 2022, so the second half of last school year. Each school in the district by law, has to have an anti-bullying specialist who, along with the principals, address harassment, intimidation, and bullying concerns in their building and conduct investigations as required. The anti-bullying specialists in the district are Andrea Cosadoy at the high school, Kathy Pons, who is still our anti-bullying specialist at the middle school last year, Dina Miwad at Robert Gordon, Carolyn Gleason in Aldine, and Jamie Halperin at Sherman. For this reporting period, there were a total of 10 HIB investigations initiated as possible harassment, intimidation, or bullying. Although after a thorough investigation, it was determined that 5 out of those 10 investigations met the very specific criteria as set forth by the New Jersey Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. At the high school last year for the second half, we actually had no investigations. At middle school, we had 1 investigation and it was determined not confirmed HIB. At Robert Gordon, there were 2 confirmed cases and 1 was not confirmed. At Aldine, we had 1 confirmed, 2 not confirmed, and Sherman, 2 confirmed, 1 not confirmed. Consequences for the offenders vary according to the ages and the circumstances of the situation. Our goal is always to use these situations as a learning experience, so counseling for the offender and sometimes the victim is always required. Additional consequences may include parent conferences, education on our HIB district policy, schedule changes, detentions, in or out of school detention, student monitoring by staff members, and police involvement as warranted. Some of the programs, we have many programs, but just to give you a brief example of some of the programs that were held for our students the second half of the year. Remember, this is just for the second half of the year. At the high school, we run a year-long Power Back Forum on dating violence, which is very successful. And we also did an assembly showed Let's Get Real about bias and bullying. At the middle school, they had a no name calling week. At Aldine, they had a heart character education celebration. Sherman morning meetings with a focus on character education and anti-bullying. Robert Gordon had a Did You Know initiative to increase cultural awareness, diversity, and inclusion. All schools did a Kindness Week activities and Great Kindness challenges. I also want to note that the anti-bullying specialists had a very detailed and thorough training by our own Jen Osborne, who helped us understand the nuances of the Bill of Rights and to understand best practices for investigating and documenting HIB investigations. So the goal of our anti-bullying specialists, school safety teams, and principal is to continue to create schools with positive and accepting environments where all members of our school community feel safe and supported. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Thank you all.
I have a question.
Okay.
Have you seen like an uptick or like a downward slide as far as HIB reports being filed, whether they were founded or not?
It's hard to predict. It's hard to predict. You know, just by what you're seeing that we've had some situations right from the get-go, but sometimes the beginning of the year when students are coming back and they're interacting and they're getting used to being together, sometimes we see a little bit of potential situations. So as the students are learning to, you know, understand proper communication and best practices. So we could have a lot in the beginning of the year and then just see none for a couple of months and then have an uptick again. So it's just really challenging to predict with any certainty how many investigations we're going to have at any given time.
Packer, did you see a difference in behavior now that there's a police officer in the high school?
Our students at the high school have always been great. But the SRO officer has been a comforting presence, I think, mostly for students and staff around security with the front door and visitors, even more so than, student behavior. But it's very reassuring to know that if there's any, like a door that we might think is compromised, that they're there to investigate, if they're there around the building to make sure that the front doors are secure and that the halls are moving freely and the bathrooms are flowing properly, the students in and out. So it's just, some of the areas that it's very difficult for the staff and admin to monitor consistently with all our other responsibilities. So it's been very helpful to have the SRO in the halls, present, making good connections with the students. And they've been a very positive presence in our building. We're very happy to have them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Backer.
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs. Backer, and I want to thank the anti-bullying specialist. People don't realize the amount of work that they do every day to keep our students safe. So thank you to you and them. Our second presentation tonight is our presentations on the scores from the spring New Jersey student learning assessments. Before I call Ms. Bodek up for her presentation, I just want to remind everyone the 2022 test is the first one in 3 years. Don't forget that 2020 and 2021, the tests obviously did not happen due to the pandemic. We are picking up the pieces now, and we're obviously remaining positive and making sure that our students and the learning loss from that interrupted time that they had, that we continue to make gains. And you're going to see gains slowly, but gains will be made in the next 2-3 years, and we'll obviously be looking at students' academics and instruction, and we're working now with additional classes with our coaches and things of such nature. So in our curriculum, of course. So now I'd like to call up Ms. Colleen Bodek, our Director of Guidance and Coordinator of Testing, to give the presentation.
Good evening. I'd like to invite the Board of Education to sit in the front row so they can see the presentation. So as Mr. Garrido mentioned, the state of New Jersey requires that we report to boards of education the results of the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, or NJSLA, as I'll refer to it, the access for ELLs, and also the dynamic learning maps. Short version is called DLM. And these were all given in the spring of 2022. So the NJSLA measures college and career readiness. It was administered in late April and May, and it was given in the areas of math, English language arts, and science. And at the high school, the NJSLA is used as a graduation requirement for many of our classes. Next Board of Education meeting, I'm going to go over the NJGPA results. So our current seniors, their graduation requirements in terms of testing have been waived, but the underclassmen, NJSLA is looked at first for their graduation testing assessment. So I'm required to report aggregated and disaggregated data as well as subgroup data. So there's lots and lots of information available to us based on the data. And I just picked out a few slides. I figured bar graphs were probably the easiest and quickest to understand for everyone at the meeting. So what we're looking at here are the English language arts results across district. On top, we have the district results, and on the bottom, we have the state results. Starting from the left side, we have third grade. Again, that's across all schools. up to ninth grade. And then all the way on the right, we have all grades combined. So I'll just focus on that right now. So if we look at all grades combined, again, the top is Roselle Park's results and the bottom is the state results. So we're kind of focusing here on the green. So the light green is meeting expectations and the dark green is exceeding. So it looks like we're pretty much in line with where the state is overall, and that's in ELA. This is subgroup data by race. The first grouping there is Asian, the second Black, the third Hispanic, multiple races, and the last is white. This next slide looks at the data based on program. So that first grouping is those on free and reduced lunch. The second grouping are students that have a Section 504 plan. Then that third grouping is special education students, and the final grouping is general education students. And I just want to note that students in the Section 504 plan, most of those students are also in the general ed, and most of the free and reduced are in both special ed and general ed groupings. This next slide looks at mathematics across district. Again, the top is our district results compared with the bottom state results. And we're focusing on the green. So if we look at geometry, that looks really nice. Very high, meeting expectations. There's also some areas for improvement on here. And we'll address ways that we are working on that now and in the future. I'll get to that slide in a few minutes. 7th grade math also looks pretty good. Here's subgroup by race. Again, the first grouping is Asian, followed by Black, Hispanic, multiple races, and white. And this is by program. We have free and reduced lunch all the way to the left. Then Section 504 plan, special education, and general education. Just to go over the colors, in case everyone can't see the fine print, the red is not meeting expectations. The dark orange is partially meeting expectations. The orange is approaching expectations, so those students that are on the cusp. And then the light green is meeting expectations and the dark green is exceeding. Here's science. And just to note, science is only given to students in 5th, 8th, and 11th grade. And our bar graphs at all the way to the right are the district results versus on the bottom, the state results, and it does look pretty similar overall. We can see that our district and New Jersey have some work to do in terms of science. And this is the breakdown by race. and this is by program. There's a new grouping added to this science program slide, and that's ELLs, English Language Learners. So all the way to the left, we have a grouping for free and reduced lunch students, then Section 504 plan, English Language Learners, special education, and general education. I do want to note that all English language learners are required to test in math and science, regardless of how long they've been in the country and how long they've been speaking the language. So a student could have arrived last week speaking maybe only Portuguese, and they do have to sit for this exam. So the data could be skewed in that way. So this is a lot of information that's really useful for administrators and teachers and parents alike. The state requires us to think about this, to discuss it, and to come up with a plan for maybe identifying areas of weakness and correcting them. So some of the intervention strategies that we currently have in place, as I'm sure many of you know, we have ELA and math coaches. These coaches have been instrumental at analyzing the data and supporting best practice instructional strategies in the classroom, but also facilitating and coordinating MTSS support. So that's a multi-tiered system of support. So what they do is they look at multiple data points, NJSLA being one of them for all students, and they identify areas of weakness, standards of weakness, and they're able to provide targeted instruction with the support staff that we have here to specific students. We have skills-based instruction based on grade level standards. We have opportunities for math acceleration. So we want students to move from that light green of meeting to that dark green of exceeding. So we've provided opportunities for students to take Accelis online courses over the summer to advance their or accelerate their math track. And many students that were given that opportunity were successful. We have increased opportunities for project-based learning and STEAM experiences. And Lincoln benchmark assessments are given 3 times yearly to identify standards needing the most improvement. So as I said, NJSLA is one data point, Linkit is another data point that helps us kind of get a better, broader picture of students and their needs. So that's NJSLA. We're going to move on now to Access 2.0 for English language learners. And this is an assessment that is given to students to assess their English language skills. Students are assessed in the areas of listening, speaking, reading, writing, oral language, literacy, and comprehension. In the spring, we had 177 English language learners that were tested on the Access 2.0. And the proficiency levels that are determined based on this assessment are these 6 different areas: entering, emerging, developing, expanding, bridging, and reaching. And this is our data based on grade levels. So all the way to the left, we have kindergarten through 5, I believe. Yep. 6 to 8 is the second grouping. And then 9 to 12 is the second to last. And if you look all the way to the right, that's all grades. So it's a little difficult to get a full picture of where our ELL students stand looking at this slide, because we're constantly having students move into the district. So it's not like the students start in the beginning of the year, have a full year of instruction, and then are assessed at the end of the year, and we have a clear picture of students coming from point A to point Z. So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, and this is the subgroup data by race. We have Asian all the way to the left. Black is the second one, followed by Hispanic and white. The colors, the yellow is entering, followed by orange beginning. Green, light green is developing. Dark green is expanding. Very dark green is bridging, and then we don't have any reaching here. And by subgroup, we have free and reduced lunch and special education on the right. So some of our intervention strategies for English language learners include in-person and virtual after-school support. We have staff professional development. I know our last professional development was on sheltered instruction, which I believe is the best practice for teaching English language learners. And we have a parent advisory group and family engagement programming and summer program. And those are just to name a few. So the last assessment that I'm going to cover today is the dynamic learning maps, or the DLM. And that's an alternate assessment to the NJSLA, which is given to our students with the most significant cognitive disabilities. And students show their performance on content standards called essential elements in English language arts, mathematics, and science. And the achievement levels here are emerging, approaching, at target, and advanced. And here you could see our results. The light blue is English language arts, and the dark blue is math. So it looks like the bulk of our math students are at approaching target. And ELA looks like we're kind of spread between emerging and at target. And our interventions for our DLM testers are targeted instruction, continuous review by the child study team of appropriate goals and interventions. And there's also a special education parent advisory group. I also want to note that many of our DLM testers are out-of-district students. So we partner with our out-of-district placements to make sure they're getting their needs met and having the best education possible. Looking ahead, parents are invited, if they haven't already logged in, to get a greater picture of their students' assessment data by logging into the Linkit parent portal. And directions to do that are provided on the website, the RPSD website. Linkit Form B and C assessments will take place throughout the remainder of the year to assess student progress and need for intervention. So Form A was given a few weeks ago. At mid-year, students will take Form B, which is the same assessment given again to track progress. And then finally, at the end of the school year, they'll take Form C. And we have a multi-tiered system of support that will be deployed if students are flagged for support. Like I mentioned before, we use multiple data points to kind of identify students in need of support. NJSLA Access 2.0 and the DLM assessments will be given again in the spring to determine progress toward state learning standards. And classroom instruction and intervention strategies will continue to be informed by assessment data, among other data points. And I have my contact here, as well as Mr. Salvo's and Mrs. Cleffy. Does anyone have any questions at this time? Yes, Mrs. Carlstrom. Yes. Only in Linkit at this time. Great.
Hi, first, thank you for coming tonight to doing that presentation. I do have a question. I have two main ones, actually. So my first one is for each category, you broke it out by, like free and reduced lunch, 504, special education. What is the state benchmark for those areas? So I think the slide only showed across, our district. That was broken out by grade level though. Yeah,
Right, I don't have that on the slides here. I have lots of slides that weren't shared today, so I can try and dig that information up if you're interested.
okay, yes, that would be great, because I'm just trying to get an idea of where we stand versus where the state is. Because, and then also how you mentioned with science, how you could tell like there's some work to be done there. So I think my question is just to get like more of an idea of why the science test scores were a little bit lower, because it seemed like ELA and math are kind of on par, or at least somewhat more so than science. So if you have an idea around that to share.
Right. Yeah, as I was saying that about science too, I kind of thought, well, we're comparing ourselves to the state.
Mhm.
So perhaps the test is, I don't know. Maybe it needs to be altered to be, a fair assessment for New Jersey students. But I'm not sure if this assessment is given to other students in other states.
Oh, I see.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe we're all
Make a
doing
fair
okay.
comparison. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Ms. Bodek, and I know science over the years, that's the content area that continues to change, or they do
Mhm.
alter from year to year. Actually, they go from one grade, used to be fourth and eighth grade,
Mhm.
and now it's fifth, ninth, and or eighth and 11th. So they do alter it, and actually, instruction in science, because of the labs and so forth, really suffered during the pandemic, when really the virtual instruction was not the same. Math and language arts, I think, was definitely a little bit better, but science really was one of the areas that really suffered.
Thank you.
So the students that were given the opportunity for accelerated math, how did we determine which students were going to be given that opportunity?
That's a difficult question for me to ask right now without resources in front of me. Is that something that we could get back to another? I don't know the
Yeah, Mrs. Albert will be
Right.
also part of this conversation.
Right. Yeah, I know it had to do with the multiple data points though, as I mentioned, being flagged for intervention or acceleration. I can't speak to exactly what those data points were off the top of my head.
I also have another question about the NJSLA. So there are no hard copies that go home to the parents anymore? Everything is on the Linkit portal?
There are hard copies that go home. Everyone that tested should have received a hard copy at the beginning of September.
They were mailed home? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bodek. I do have one more reporting requirement that the state requires us to do, and that is our class of 2022 graduation requirements. There were a total of 144 students graduating 2022 here at Roselle Park High School. There are different pathways of assessments that are required to be passed in order to graduate from high school. One is the passing the substitute competency test, 64 ELA students, 64 students took the ELA, 60 took the math. There were 13 ELA portfolio appeals and 17 math portfolio appeals. And there were 19 or 9 that met the alternate requirements specified in the IEP, and 10 in math. Number of 12th grade students denied graduation was 5. Number of 12th grade students denied graduation due to failure to meet assessment requirements, 0. Those students that did not graduate, they had to go a 5th year because of lack of credits, and so forth, or summer school, because of lack of credits. So once again, 144 graduates, 5 students did not graduate. And again, this is a requirement for us to report to the board and to the public as well. I don't know if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrido. At this time, we'll move on to the agenda items. First is policy. Agenda items number 1, district policy, second reading. Do I have a motion?
Jen?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice President Carlstrom,
Yes.
Mark Fernandez,
Yes.
Z Infante,
Yes.
Dr. Kirkland,
Yes.
Jennifer McCarr,
Yes.
Constance Consella,
Yes.
Michael and Regan, President Harms.
Yes. Next is personnel, agenda items 2 through 25 and addenda items 1 and 2. And we also have a resolution. 2, staff appointments. 3, staff resignation. 4, middle school locker room attendant. 5, medical leave. 6, additional high school proctor for 2022-2023. 7, enrichment program. 8, paraprofessional additional hours. 9, district substitutes. 10, professional development. 11, maternity leave of absence. 12, rescinding of staff appointment. 13, degree changes. 14, changes of assignment transfers. 15, home instruction. 16, additional Title 1 AP Tutoring ESSER ARP Beyond School Day Program. 17, additional high school extracurricular advisor for 2022-2023 school year. 18, revision to high school fall winter coaches 2022-2023. 19, physicals for winter 2022. 20, additional standard-based instructional support program. 21, ESL parent advisory and family encouragement experiences. 22, rescinding of staff appointment. 23, high scope training. 24, additional school extracurricular advisors. 25, extra duty periods 2022-2023. Addenda items under personnel. 1, middle school additional teachers and classes for 2022-2023. 2, staff appointment. I'm gonna do this last, correct? We're gonna take a roll call on that and then take a roll call on the resolution?
Yes, he's gonna read that one. Yes,
I'm gonna read this now.
yes.
Right. And we also have the resolution. The board, upon recommendation of the superintendent, terminates the employment contract of employee 3591 pursuant to the notice provision of the employment contract between the board and employee 3591 for the 2022-2023 school year. The employee's employment with the district shall terminate on November 17th, 2022. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, President Harms, I just want to express gratitude to Dennis DeGunis, who is my earth science teacher for his years in Rosa Park High School.
Okay. Any other discussion? No comments? Hearing no, roll call, please.
Vice President Carlstrom,
Yes.
Mark Fernandez,
Yes.
Z Infante,
Yes.
Dr. Kirkland,
Yes.
Jennifer McCarr,
Yes.
Constance Consella,
Yes.
Michael and Regan,
Yes.
President Harms.
Yes. Moving on, under education, agenda items 26 through 33. 26, revision of education programs 2022-2023. 27, additional education programs 2022, 2023. 28, education trip request. 29, harassment, intimidation, bullying incidents. 30, education programs. 31, conference attendance requests. 32, nursing service plan. And 33, high school and middle school athletic schedule. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Carlstone,
Yes.
Mark Fernandez.
Yes.
Z Infante,
Yes.
Dr. Kirkland,
Yes.
Jennifer McCarr,
Yes.
Constance Quintella,
Yes.
Michael M. Regan, President Harms.
Yes. Moving on under business, agenda items 34 through 48 and addenda items 3 and 4. 34, monthly certifications. 35, approval of bills. 36, approval of minutes. 37, secretary treasurer's report. 38, use of buildings and grounds and revisions. 39, bus evacuation drills. 40, professional service contract. Can't speak. 41, Drexel University Field Placement Assignment. 42, memorandum of agreement. 43, revision to professional services contract 2023. 44, donation bins. 45, donations acceptance. 46, cooling tower replacement. 47, district contract agreement. 48, comprehensive maintenance plan 2022-2023. Under business, addenda items, budget transfers is 3. Number 4, additional approval of bills. Do I have a motion?
Jenny.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Carlstone,
Yes.
Mark Fernandez,
Yes.
Z Infante,
Yes.
Dr. Kirkland,
Yes.
Jennifer McCarr,
Yes.
Constance Quintella,
Yes, with an abstention to 38B.
Michael M. Regan, President Harms.
Yes. We also have a resolution hand carried. This is the board upon the recommendation of the superintendent approves the reinstatement of employee 2111 effective October 19th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comments? Roll call, please.
Vice President Carlstone,
Yes.
Mark Fernandez,
Yes.
Z Infante,
Yes.
Jennifer McCarr,
Yes.
Constance Quintella,
Yes.
Michael M. Regan, President Harms.
Yes.
I think you forgotten.
No,
Dr. Curtin?
he mentioned your name. Oh,
No, I didn't.
oh,
Sorry, Dr. Kirkland,
Yes.
sorry.
we wouldn't forget you. As we move on, is there any continuing business? Is there any new business?
Quickly, President Harms, I just want to reiterate the gratitude to the estate of Michael H. Frankel for their donation to the Crisis Center and the GSA. I know if I were here at the high school now, I would be so grateful to have the opportunity to have something like the GSA. So any donation, any contribution to an organization like that, a club like that is really special for, I think, all of our community.
Thank you.
Um,
Any
Pre-
other? Okay.
President Harms, I have two things that I wanted to enter into new business. So in the spirit of increasing like communication between the district and the community, I would like to propose for the technology committee to do a deep dive into the district website. And then also to research a new messenger system for the district, if that isn't already happening.
It's already,
That's priority.
it's already, yes.
Okay.
We can report to the technology committee when we meet
Okay.
in November where we are, and then to the board.
Okay, great. And then secondly, I noticed that there was one district in particular, Howell District. They have a policy in place that occasionally allows for like open committee meetings and even potentially having a barring any confidential information, of course, and potentially having community members involved in committees. And so I just wanted to know if that was something like policy committee could look into, if we're interested in. Thank you.
Any other new business? Hearing none, we'll move into the public participation. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address. You can speak on any topic and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, Council. My name is Frank Agliardo. I live at 409 Sheridan Avenue. I'd just like to talk about I heard a really great rumor and I'm hoping it's true. Maybe you guys can answer this for me. I heard that you guys might be in a search for a grant to get the middle school auditorium seats replaced and also possibly the field to be replaced to being a turf field. Is this rumor true?
I'd love to say yes. But the facilities committee has not had anything. So if you would like, you can get in touch with the superintendent on I guess whoever started the rumor. And see if that person can, I mean, we'd love to discuss anything on that. Would be fantastic. So if we could get some kind of information on it, contact the superintendent and we'll be more than happy to have the facilities committee meet and then take it a little further if we see that's something feasible.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it becomes feasible, especially with the auditorium. I don't know if you guys have been there lately, but it's been over 40 years. And I haven't been living here that long, but that's a rumor that I'm hearing that it hasn't been touched in over 40 years.
No,
So-
that's not true.
The seats,
The seats,
the seats,
some of the seats,
not the painting of the.
some of the seats have been replaced. But you're probably right. I'm not going to say 40 years. I've been here 49, so I remember it being done in that time. But anyhow, let's get together. Let's see what we can work out. If something's feasible, let's talk about it.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Edward Gate, 710 Hamilton Place, Roselle Park. Good evening, everyone. I know you heard me a few times before, and tonight a few things more. I'd like to drop my complaint with Robert Gordon School. I seen a big change, significant improvement, and great communication, caring. I'm really satisfied with that. And for the middle school, I wish it's the same. It's still improving, and I don't deny there is some improvement, things going on, much better. But I'd like to see more improvement to make up for the missing of attention and everything. Hopefully it happens soon, and I drop the complaint. For everyone seeking election, good luck. And stay focused, more strategic. The entire world is looking up to us. is very important. The public work is really a big. And finally, Master Superintendent, I want to thank you for the time you've been with us and everything. You've done a lot. And sometime when we made at something, we forgot the good things and we just focus on what we made at. And you did really good things, especially with the pandemic. I really did feel everything goes all right, and the in-person teaching was almost the same like on distance. And good luck, and thank you again. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Paula Rabel, Santiago, 512 Walnut Street. I'm actually on the same wavelength as Frank. Team sports help teach adolescents accountability, dedication, leadership, and goal-setting skills. For the success of our students' sports, a playable field that is safe for them is not only necessary, but also expected. I wish I could stand here and say this is true about the middle school field. In reality, it is the complete opposite. The condition is hazardous and easy for our students to become injured. Not only does this impact our student athletes, but also all of our middle school and Robert Gordon students who use it during the school year. I would like to have the Board of Ed consider looking at the middle school field and find a different solution to this problem. I am aware that there have been attempts to resolve the issue, but honestly, it's not working. For you to see the problem closer, I would like to invite you all to the middle school soccer game tomorrow at 4 p.m. You can get a closer look at the conditions that our students are playing at. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call. At this time, I will close the public portion. At this time, our next meeting is November 15th, 2022, 7 p.m. If we have no other comments, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A.